welcome back to Stylish Naija YouTube channel. I want to say thank you to all of my subscribers. I really appreciate you guys a whole lot for subscribing to my YouTube channel. So guys, today I'm going to be showing you how to actually cut and sew this trendy yoke design on a dress. So this yoke, it has actually been trending for some time now. So today I decided, I've been looking at it, but today I just decided to make a video of it, and then I'm going to make it as simple and as easy as I can to make you understand how to do this. It is really simple and easy. So if you are new to my channel, if this is the first time of you coming across Stylish Naija YouTube channel, I would appreciate if you hit on the subscribe button and then hit on the like button. Also hit on the bell on the side if you're a new subscriber to get an update whenever I upload a new video. So you could see this yoke, actually it's usually done on a tube. So right now I actually have my tube dress. So this is like a tube dress, a tube pattern. It's actually a neck dart and bustier pattern. So I'm going to be creating the yoke on it. So the simplest and easiest way for you to do this is you are just going to measure. So I have my pattern paper folded into two. I'm going to do this first on my pattern before I transfer to the fabric. It is simple. So you are going to measure how deep you actually want your yoke to be. So most times yoke, when we're doing yoke, we usually use between 8 and 9, depends on how deep you want your yoke to be. So for this, I'm going to be making use of the regular 9 inches. So this is my 9 inches mark. I'm just going to roll it now. The next thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to measure the width. So for the width, so this is because this yoke, it comprises of both the sleeve. So you are going to determine how long you want it to be. That's where you want it to get to on your dress. That's how much long you want the sleeve to be. That is what you will use in folding out the width of your fabric. So this is the length, the width. So for that, I'm just going to measure like this. So you could use any you could actually measure, and then because we are going to be pleating it, so you are going to put that into consideration. So for this, I'm going to be using 20 inches. I'm going to be using, okay, let me use 19 inches. I'm going to use 19 inches. So this 19 inches point, that is where I'm going to stop. So this 19 inches actually includes the allowance that I'm adding to it. So everything is included. So it could be, I could use 18 inches and then use 1 inch as my allowance. So 19 is just perfect for me. So the next thing I'm going to do now, we're going to cut out the neckline. So this is where we're getting to. We're going to cut out the neckline. So both for the back and the neckline, you notice most of the necklines for this yoke is actually a V neckline. So in creating out a V neckline, I'm just going to bring my pattern like this, and then I'm going to use about 3.5 inches or 3 inches, depends on how wide you actually want the yoke to be, that's the neckline to be. So I'll do 3 inches, and then from this point, I'm not cutting it out. So from this point, I'm just going to leave about 1 inch. That's from the down part. I'll leave about 1 inch, and then from this point, I'm just going to slant this like this to this point to cut this out. So I'll still have this 1 inch that I'm going to stitch about half an inch on this top part of my tube. So this is the width. So both the back and the front, I'm going to cut them the same. You can decide to make the back and parts wider or deeper, depends on what you actually want. So for this, I'm just going to cut this out like this now. So I have my V neckline cut out. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to create out on this shoulder part like this. I'm just going to create like a design that will enable it, just give me a little curve. So from that point now, I'm going to come like this. I'll use 1 inch on those points like this, or 1.5. Okay, 1 inch is just okay. So what I'm going to do now, from this neckline point, I'm going to slope it like this now. So I'm going to slope it. So I'll cut out that part. Before I cut out that part, this down part, I don't want it to be straight like this. So I'm just going to give it a little curve. So in giving it a little curve, I'm going to come from this point like this. I'm going to mark about, from this point like this, I'm going to come up. I really don't want it to be too wide. So at the end of the day, here is going to be like my sleeve opening, which is about 12 inches, which is okay for me. Because if I leave everything, the entire 9 inches, it might be too wide. So from this point like this, I have the 6 inches. So what I actually have here left is 2 inches. So from this point like this, I'm just going to slope it. I'm just going to create a slope like this to this point like this. So you see what I have. So at the end of the day, this is how it's going to be. So I'm going to cut it out now. And then I would cut this, and then I would cut this. So how full you actually want your yoke to be will determine how okay, I'm just going to open this up. So this is for the back, and then the other one is for the front. So how full you actually want your yoke to be, that is actually what is you are going to put into consideration in marking out the width of your yoke. So from this point now, we're going to pleat. So this is the center of my dress. So I'm going to measure my chest line. I'm going to measure the entire width, what I actually have here. That's for the top part. So what I actually have here is 18, which is 36. So the half of it is going to be 9 inches. So now I'm going to pleat this yoke. Let it get to this point like this. So here's what I'm going to do. You're just going to pleat this part. Let it be about 10 inches. I'm going to actually cut it out on the fabric. So this is the fabric that I'm actually going to use for it. But I'm just trying to explain it on the pattern paper. It will be easier for you to see. So from this point like this, I'm just going to pleat. So you can pleat it however, you can decide to pleat. So you could, from the different pictures, there are some you can actually pleat it into the shoulder. Some you can actually decide to stop it. You can actually decide to do smaller pleat from this point to this point. So it depends on what you actually want. So you're just going to pleat it. So you notice I'm not pleating it straight. I'm just trying to pleat it. Let it be like diagonal. So like this. So that is why that excess. So this part now I'm going to trim to, you see I still have my line here. So I'm just going to keep pleating like this. So like I said, depends on how full you want. That is what you put into consideration in pleating this, in cutting out this part. So from this point like this, I'm just going to measure. So I have about 9 inches point. So once I get to that point, this part, I could just decide to leave this part like this, the way it is. So at the end of the day, this part will just open up a little bit, or you can decide to pleat it to the end. Depends on what you want. So the next thing, after pleating like this, I would run a stitch from this point like this. I run a stitch and then trim out the remaining excess. So this part is like this. I will pleat this, and then I will pleat this also. Both of them will be equal. That's, I'll pleat this also. So you see, it's already looking like what we have on the picture. So I'll pleat this part also, and then I'll pleat both the back also. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to transfer to the fabric. Note, the back does not have a zipper allowance because it is a tube. Because it is a tube, when I'm stitching, I'm going to stitch it. It's going to get to this point like this. This back piece, now once I stitch it on it, it's going to stop here. So the zipper allowance does not extend to the back yoke. So you see what we have. So at the end of the day, it's going to come down like this. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to open. Okay, I don't need to open since both of them are the same. I'm going to use this back piece now to cut out my fabric. Okay, so I've cut out that part. So I'm going to just slope out this part now. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to pleat it now. So I'll show you how to actually pleat it. So for the back piece, we're going to separate the one of the back piece. I'm going to separate it into two. I will separate it into two because I'm going to pleat them separately. I'm going to join them on each side separately. So you see what we have. So that's what we're going to do now. So for the pleats, like I said, you can choose how full you actually want it to be. So if you are doing this, all you have to do is you decide to double this, so to make it full, to make it heavy. So you can decide to double it. If you don't want to do it single, you can double it and then cut out another piece and then turn it out with your lining. So now you are going to take the center of your, I'm going to take the center of my dress, which is about 9 inches. So this is the center. So that's where I'm actually going to start pleating from the middle here, and then this part like this. So the easiest way for you to do this, okay, I'm going to go and pleat it now. Just pleat it on the machine, just the way I explained to you, and then I'll come back and show you how to connect it. Okay, so welcome back, guys. So I've finished teaching. So this is the back piece, it is separated. So I'm going to explain to you with the front piece. So this is my front piece. So you can see it is looking so beautiful. You see, it is looking like what we have there. It is really simple and easy. So you see I've pleated it. So from the center here, this is the center. All I need to do is just take it back to my machine, and then I'll turn it inwards like this, and then I will stitch it all along up to this point, up to the end. So this, because this is my armhole and point, so this is for the tube top. I'm just going to start stitching from this point like this, and then I'll stitch it up to this point. So that is why you need to measure the top part of your bodies for the tube for you to know how you are actually going to pleat it. So you see it is looking like that. So from this point also, I'm still going to stitch until it gets to this end part. So I'm going to do that for the front, and then for the back piece, like I told you earlier on. So for the back piece, I'm going to take the back piece. So from this point like this, I'm going to stitch the back piece. So it's not going to enter into the zipper allowance point. I'm just still going to stitch it like this, and then it will get to this point. So I'm going to go and do that now, and then I'll come back and show you how it will look like, and then before we finish up the top part. Okay guys, so you could see I finished stitching. So you see it is looking so beautiful. So you see how this part is looking. So the next thing I'm going to do now is just for me to take it and then stitch the shoulder line. Just join it on the shoulder line, and then you hem the armhole. So you note that was why I told you initially that this armhole part you need to measure. You need to measure it. So when we're actually doing the trimming, that's this and down part slant that we did here, you need to measure this part, or else this arm opening might be too wide for you. So you just measure. So at the end of the day, this part is just going to be so perfect. It's just going to fit into my armhole. So if you want it to be fuller, like I said, just increase the width. You know, I actually used about 19 inches. You can decide to use about 25 inches or 20 inches. Depends on how full you actually want it to be. So I'm just going to go and join this part together now, and then I'll put it on the mannequin for you to see the finished look, so you see how beautiful it is looking. So thank you so much. I'll see you in my next video. God bless you. Okay guys, so you could see the final look of our trendy yoke or pleated yoke, depends on what you choose to call it, a dress. So you could see it actually came out beautifully well. Like I said, this is just cute and moderate. There are some exaggerated ones from the pictures I showed you, so if you decide to do that, just increase the weight. So that's just basically what was done. So thank you so much. At the end of the day, so you see that we got it. So you see the back, how the back part is looking. So I left this point like this, so the yoke does not go into the zipper point. So guys, so thank you so much. I'll see you in my next video. Bye 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 bye.